Breaking today, Apple is exploring Gemini for a revamped Siri. If this lands, your iPhone's assistant won't just answer. It will plan, book, draft, confirm, and finish tasks across your apps. The question is not, can Siri talk smarter? It's, can Siri finally do things? In this video, you'll hear why this move matters now, who it threatens, and the single design choice that could turn Siri into the action layer of iOS. Stay with me, because in a moment, I'll reveal the quiet detail in today's coverage that decides whether this becomes a revolution or another demo. 1. How we got here. From answers to outcomes. Siri began as a pathfinder, a helpful shortcut that made hands-free control feel magical on a phone. It set expectations for quick questions, simple commands, and small wins. Apple refined it over years. Better voices, faster responses, deeper hooks into native apps through intents and shortcuts. Yet the world moved faster. Generative AI stopped being a novelty and started acting like an operator. Chatbots learned to summarize long documents, reason through multiple steps, and call tools to complete tasks. Gemini emphasized multimodal understanding, seeing what you show while hearing what you say. Claude pushed long context analysis and careful instruction following. Qwen and DeepSeek grew quickly across commerce, productivity, and code. The gap wasn't only accuracy, it was agency, the leap from hearing an answer to approving an outcome. That is the backdrop for today's reports. Apple in early discussions with Google about using Gemini, or a customized variant, to power a revamped Siri. Early talks and no finalized deal matter. The same coverage also notes parts of Apple's broader Siri overhaul were pushed into next year due to engineering challenges. Put those facts together, and the timing makes sense. Apple can continue building in-house while exploring whether a partner model accelerates the hardest problems. Robust multimodal comprehension, reliable step-by-step planning, and repeatable tool use at iPhone scale. Why consider a partner now? Two forces. First, user pressure. People want an assistant that does, not just talks. Second, competitive urgency. Android's Gemini experiences and agentic features from rivals are raising the bar. Apple contributes distribution, OS-level control, and a trust brand built on privacy. Google contributes frontier-grade multimodality. If they align on architecture, especially where requests run and how data is governed. Siri can upgrade from ask and hear to ask and it gets done. That shift changes daily behavior. Instead of bouncing between screens, you declare intent, review a plan, and tap to approve. The assistant becomes an operating system behavior, not an app. And that's the point where a billion iPhones feel new without changing their hardware. 2. Inside the engine. Multimodality, tools, memory, trust. This is where rumors meet reality. A Siri powered by a Gemini-class brain would feel different in 4 practical ways. It sees, it uses tools, it remembers, and it shows its work. First, multimodality. Instead of treating your words and your camera as separate channels, the assistant fuses them. You point at a whiteboard and say, "Turn this into a task list, assign owners based on last project, and propose dates that avoid school pickup." It reads handwriting, extracts entities, checks calendars, and drafts a plan for approval. You aim at the cable jungle behind your monitor and ask which port is which. It distinguishes HDMI from DisplayPort and USB-C, recommends the right adapter, and stages a purchase for your confirmation. Multimodality isn't decoration. It is the bridge from messy reality to clean actions. Second, tool use. Modern models don't just compose sentences, they call functions. On Apple platforms that maps to intents and shortcuts. A single request can cascade across capabilities. Find restaurants that match dietary needs, check travel time, peek at availability, draft a group message, book a ride, and drop a reminder. Knowledge becomes capability when the assistant invokes the right tools in the right order and returns with a plan you can accept or adjust. Third, memory. Assistants feel toy-like when they forget context. With longer windows and structured recall, Siri can keep yesterday's PDFs, this morning's spreadsheet, and last week's notes in mind. Ask for a 2-minute opener for a client call and it pulls the lines that matter, matches the numbers, writes in your voice, and leaves the draft where you work. That is the leap from polite parrot to reliable colleague. Fourth, trustworthy execution. Coverage Today introduced a pivotal possibility: a partner model trained by Google that runs on Apple's servers for heavier tasks, while quick, sensitive jobs remain on device. That split lets Apple preserve its privacy posture without losing frontier-grade reasoning. Pair it with a visible activity log: what data was referenced, which apps were touched, what sequence ran, and trust becomes something you can see. Open loop. In a minute, I'll show you a daily workflow this makes possible that saves almost half an hour with one prompt. 3 life-upgraded workflows you'll actually use. Turn capability into routines. Morning chaos? Say, summarize my inbox, surface 5 that need my voice, draft warm but firm replies in my tone, and stage them in notes for review. You supervise and send. One request, many outcomes. Preparing for a meeting? Creators get leverage. Turn this blog into a 60-second script with 3 pattern interrupts and a clear payoff. You receive punchy lines and shot prompts ready for editing. Selling online? Analyze the last 30 days of my shop, choose 3 SKUs for a weekend discount, propose break-even and sale prices, generate a simple banner, and schedule the promotion for Friday at 5. Instead of opening 5 dashboards, you approve 1 plan. Here's the catch: none of this sticks unless consent and clarity are front and center. That's why the receipts and permissions from Part 2 matter more than the demos. Home admin becomes calmer. Build a lactose-free meal plan under 1,800 calories, generate a shopping list, find a delivery slot after 6, and remind me the night before. The assistant respects health goals, budget, and schedule. Travel becomes rule-based. If fares between 9 and 10 next Thursday drop under 42, rebook me automatically with an aisle seat and add the platform to my calendar. You set the rules. The agent watches and acts. Accessibility improves too. Point at a kiosk and the assistant guides you step by step. Aim at a dense letter and it produces a plain language summary, a reply, and a reminder for any deadline. In 60 seconds, the day feels lighter, not because the phone knows more, but because it can finally do. What keeps this safe is a visible receipt of actions and clear boundaries. You choose which apps can be touched, where purchases require confirmation, and which automations run unattended. Capability without control becomes chaos. Capability with control becomes relief. And because the assistant shows what it did, calendars consulted, messages drafted, holds placed, you can approve, undo, or revoke with 1 tap. 4 stakes and signals: who wins, who worries, now the race. Think of it as a 3-way contest with regional heavyweights at the edges. Apple plus Google versus OpenAI versus Anthropic, with Qwen and DeepSeek rising fast in Asia and xAI's Grok angling for real-time media and in-car experiences. If Apple combines Gemini-level intelligence with iOS native control and privacy, the center of gravity tilts toward the device most people already trust. Credibility matters. Today's coverage is consistent on key facts. Early talks, no deal finalized. Parts of the Siri overhaul pushed into next year. Alphabet and Apple rose intraday on the report. Those receipts signal attention, not rumor drift. They also explain the pressure. If Apple moves, OpenAI deepens agents and mobile workflows that feel native. Anthropic leans harder into safety, long context analysis, and verifiable reasoning for regulated industries. Qwen and DeepSeek keep scaling commerce and automotive integrations. Everyone races to meet a new baseline. Assistants that do. Scrutiny is inevitable. Any cooperation between Apple and Google invites questions about data boundaries and choice. Architecture is the answer. Users need to know where a request ran: device, Apple server, partner model on Apple's rails, what left the device, how long it lives, and whether it informs training. A simple, readable status line can do more for trust than 1,000 words of policy. And here's a risk people miss. If routing is opaque, trust will crack at the moment of adoption. Make routing visible and the assistant earns the right to act. For developers, a universal action layer looks less like a threat and more like a new distribution channel. Apps with clear, safe capabilities, export as carousel, summarize for legal, price these items, schedule across channels, will be invoked more often by the assistant. The winners design idempotent, auditable endpoints that agents can chain without duplication or surprise. The shakeout won't just test AI models, it will reward product teams who make their superpowers legible to an agent and safe to automate. 5. The road ahead: what's likely, what's next. Here is a realistic path. First, execution transparency becomes a headline feature. For every request you see where it ran, on device, on Apple servers, or via a partner model hosted by Apple. Third, model choice surfaces gradually. Most people want sane defaults. Power users and enterprises will expect explicit routing, on-device for sensitive contexts, partner models for heavy multimodal reasoning, human approval thresholds for spend and messaging. Fourth, app design shifts toward invocable capabilities. Developers carve products into safe, auditable building blocks assistants can chain, exporting, transforming, pricing, captioning, scheduling, without creating duplicates or side effects. Fifth, hardware matters again. Cameras, microarrays, UWB, LiDAR on supported devices, and neural accelerators combine to make on-device recognition snappy and robust, while complex planning leaps to private cloud when needed. That hybrid keeps latency low and trust high. Sixth, internationalization shapes variants of the stack. Data residency, legal norms, and language coverage nudge regional differences, even as Apple aims for one coherent global experience. Seventh, the counter moves intensify. Google continues to showcase the pure Gemini vision on Android. Apple iterates a Gemini on Apple Rails hybrid if talks advance. OpenAI courts creators and professionals with agentic tools that collapse hours of production into minutes. Anthropic becomes the safe default for document-heavy sectors. Qwen and DeepSeek fuel sovereign strategies across commerce, search, and vehicles. One bold prediction: the assistant that lives closest to your life, your phone, wins by default. Wildcards remain. Pricing and packaging could reshape expectations. Free tiers that prove value, paid tiers that unlock unattended runs or enterprise governance. Regulatory clarity could arrive faster than expected, rewarding the platforms that ship auditability first. And user patience is finite. The winner will not be the loudest launch. It will be the assistant that quietly turns friction into flow, day after day, under constraints people understand and accept. If Apple makes model routing visible, device, Apple server, partner model, trust becomes a UI and the assistant becomes the OS. This is bigger than a feature, it is a turning point. If Apple secures Gemini-class intelligence on Apple-grade Rails, the iPhone shifts from a screen you operate to a partner that operates for you. Ask once and a chain of actions unfolds. Visible, reversible, respectful. Don't get left behind. Subscribe and tap the bell so you're never late to the future. Then tell me the one task you want Siri to automate perfectly tomorrow. If these talks move forward, your next big upgrade won't be another app. It will be the moment your phone finally understands what you mean and does the work to make it real.